Alright guys, I'm back. Let's talk about the new HCS settings. Now before we get into it, my voice is kind of destroyed. It's still recovering. I was away over the weekend emceeing a Smash Bros tournament. I put everything into this Smash event. I was yelling, I was screaming, I was treating it like it was a WrestleMania showdown. I went all in. I actually recommend that you check out a highlight from the event. I'll link a short highlight in the description. It was my introduction to the grand finalists. It's pretty hype. You'll understand why my voice is in as much pain as it is now, because I was yelling, I was giving it 110%. You've probably never seen anything quite like it, so I recommend you check it out. It's in the description. Anyway, in the video here, we got strongholds on Eden. This is the new HCS settings. There's no Spartan Charge. There's no ground pound. It's kind of a rusty gameplay, in my opinion. I haven't played Halo for a little while because I've been busy, but I had to string something together for you guys. I get a decent KD, so you can check it out. I do some things that are like overly aggressive and stupid, in my opinion, but whatever. Enjoy the gameplay. It'll be right here. There's no Spartan Charge, no ground pound. These are the big changes they made so far. Of course, along with the setting changes, they're going to be adding Fissure and Echelon, two sick new maps. I can link the maps in the description as well for you to check out. They're also testing this new map called Sanctum, which is a remake of Sanctuary, and Sanctum looks freaking awesome, so I wouldn't be surprised if Sanctum becomes a new flag map, potentially replacing Fathom, which is something that they're looking into. It looks sick. It looks like a real map created by 343. It's so great to see that the Forge mode in this game is sophisticated enough that we can get a map that looks as awesome as Sanctum. So I'll put Sanctum in the description. You can check it out. Looks gorgeous. Anyway, the new settings: no Spartan Charge, no ground pound. These are different than the settings that I talked about in my old settings video. Remember, I talked about pros testing new settings. They were testing removing sprint, removing slowing down clamber, slowing down thrust. I need to go back and readdress that video for a second. There's a couple things I said in that video that I need to clarify, because a lot of people in the comments have been upset about them, so I'm going to clarify some of these things. I know it was a controversial video overall, but the first one was that I said Halo Online went away. When I said Halo Online went away, I assumed that everybody knows the situation with Halo Online. We all know that, you know, you can still play the game, it's still downloadable, you can still go download it and play and enjoy it, but it's gone away in a sense that you can't put it on YouTube, you can't stream it, you can't post content related to it online. It's no longer going to be updated, but you can still play it, you can still enjoy it. So I said went away with the assumption that you guys knew, but I'm sorry if I confused anybody in the process. The other thing I said was that Halo 5 shit the bed. When I said, sorry, Halo 4 shit the bed. When I said Halo 4 shit the bed, it was like an umbrella term that I was using to say that it failed to meet customer expectations. I think we can agree that Halo 4 failed to meet customer expectations. I didn't mean to say the game was shit. So some people seem to assume that I was calling Halo 4 shit, and they got kind of upset. I never want to say that about any Halo game, or any game for that matter, because I know, especially in the Halo franchise, there are good qualities in every Halo game, and there are people who love them for different reasons. So I'm not going to come here and shit on your favorite Halo game. I'm just saying that it failed to meet customer expectations. That was the main thing I wanted to point out. The last thing was that I said, you're splitting up the community, don't tamper with the formula. When I'm saying splitting up the community, I'm specifically talking about Halo 5's community. I understand that overall, Halo as a community is split, it's fragmented, and, you know, because it's split, people are saying, you know, you might as well just put these classic settings in and hopefully bring some of the classic players back to Halo. I don't think that this change would do anything drastic, to be honest, and it was splitting up the community of Halo 5 players, not necessarily because of the ground pound, the Spartan Charge being removed. My biggest issue with those settings that the pros were testing was removing sprint. Like, it's not that I like sprint or like having sprint in Halo. I feel like sprint is probably the most, like, the least necessary mechanic to have in this game. You can have a Spartan look like he's moving around fast and sprinting like a super, you know, like a super soldier or whatever. You don't have to have a sprint mechanic just to have it. But in Halo 5 specifically, sprint is so important, because without sprint, you can't slide, you can't thrust slide, you can't super jump, you can't kneecap, you can't thrust off walls, you can't do so much sick stuff in this game that people have been practicing for the last 3 years, and part of the reason why it's so technical and so interesting is because sprint allows you to do these things. So that's why I was upset, because if you remove sprint, you remove like half the jumps, you remove sick routes that people are taking, like so many things that are fundamental to this game are removed if you remove sprint. So I don't care for sprint, I just care for what sprint lets you do. That was my issue. But sprint hasn't been removed. The new settings are no Spartan Charge, no ground pound. We'll see what else they change in the future, but I think they're just going to stick with no Spartan Charge, no ground pound. And overall, I like it. I am okay with these new settings. I am enjoying it. I'm having a good time. I have no problems so far, so they can keep it, and that's fine. I understand why they got rid of it. If you think about it, like look at the ground pound. The ground pound, especially in strongholds like this right here, in a vertical like map or in vertical areas in the map where people are focused on an objective point, you can put so much damage in so quickly with the ground pound. You just dive in, take advantage of that situation. With the flag, you can ground pound, go flying across a map, and you can get from start to finish so quickly. So I understand how it makes you move faster, and in some situations you get an easy kill as a result of using a ground pound. So that's the main reason why they got rid of it. You move too fast because of it, you get easier kills. Same with the Spartan Charge. In certain scenarios you can get an easy kill, you get an upper hand on somebody, you surprise them, hit them with a Spartan Charge, they whiff their melee, it's an easy kill for you to take them out afterwards. So I get that. You can also use it as an escape tool. Now my issue with getting rid of these abilities is they have these cool, unique, additional aspects that allow you to move in more creative and interesting ways. The Spartan Charge can be used as an aerial hover. The ground pound can be used as an aerial hover. The Spartan Charge can be used as an additional movement mechanic to escape and enter battles quickly. That's what I was thinking was kind of cool in this game. They're not necessary because they don't like fundamentally, like not having them, you can still move around quickly, you can still take advantage of your jumps, so they don't fundamentally change the gameplay in any way. But I was thinking it would be cool if ground pound and Spartan Charge were tweaked to remove the damage completely. They did 0 damage whatsoever, but they were still in the game. That means that Spartan Charge would be nothing but a secondary thrust, basically. Like, the animation would be the same, it would just do no damage whatsoever. It would be like the same as thrusting at somebody, it would just push them and do no damage, basically. So that means that you would only be using Spartan Charge to escape and enter battles, and you would only have to use it like expertly. Personally, I think escaping a battle with a Spartan Charge is not easy to do. Like, you have to perfectly memorize your sprint timing, so you have a very short window where you have to sprint, make sure that you're not hit in that time. If you take any shots, Spartan Charge is an option. If you melee too early, you can't Spartan Charge, you stop sprinting, you end up walking, so you actually screw yourself. And if you do get the Spartan Charge timing down, you got to be very precise with it. If you're slightly off, you hit a wall, you reel backwards, you're easy kill if you hit a wall. So there are so many drawbacks to using it as a secondary thrust. I felt like, if anything, it's a pretty skilled mechanic. Yes, having it available allows players to move more quickly, and maybe that was one of the issues with the game, but I think it would be cool to see what it would be like if it did 0 damage, and to try it out that way. Same with the ground pound. What if the ground pound was like an aerial charged thrust, and you can charge your thrust and shoot downward to a specific location that you had to commit to, and when you hit the floor there's a slow get up, but all it is a thrust. So you can use it to traverse more quickly with the flag, you can use it to get to a location faster, whatever it is, or you can use it just for the aerial hover aspect of it, and slow your descent too. One of the cool things about the ground pound was that if I knew somebody was going to nade, I can like momentarily slow my descent, dodge a bit of the splash damage from the grenade, then fall to the ground. So it had this cool extra aspect to it. But overall, they aren't necessary mechanics. This game is still sick the way that it is without ground pound, without Spartan Charge. Now that there's no ground pound, vertical battles in this game are kind of sick. Like in a situation where a player's above you and he has advantage, of course he has advantage because he's higher, but he also has that imposing threat of a potential ground pound that could come out and take you out. Because that's no longer in play, I find I'm more confident when I'm lower, like below opponents, and I take longer to strafe and take advantage of a situation where I might be able to outshoot the guy. If he tries to come down on me and pressure me, I could outplay the shit out of him still because he doesn't have that ground pound option. It comes completely down to your shooting capability, your timing, your thrust, your strafing, all those different mechanics. So I personally thought that it was pretty sick engaging in those vertical battles without having a ground pound. I actually really enjoyed it. So far, I am loving the new settings. I do miss the additional movement capabilities that came with the ground pound, the Spartan Charge. I think it would be cool if we could somehow test them in a way where they did 0 damage whatsoever, but apparently I was reading the 343 community forum, and apparently because of the state that this game is in, it's been around for like 3 years, they're currently making Halo 6, they don't really have the time and resources to alter damage values. They can only turn on or turn off the ground pound of the Spartan Charge. So for now, they've decided to turn it off. And to be honest, if it's making people happy for the most part, Sure, let's do that. Let's turn it off. I think the game is still great because we still have the sprint with the thrust slide. We still have kneecapping, thrusting up walls. Still so many sick mechanics to take advantage of. So it's not super necessary. Even the stabilize is still an aerial hover. You can still do your hover, but now it's the stabilize. It's a little riskier, and you don't have two hover options, so it's harder to get back onto a stage when you're like, let's say, the rig, and it's very easy to fall off that map. You have to be more careful and pick and choose your options when you're in the air. So I think it adds more skill and it's more interesting in that way. I just think it would be cool to try these out as strictly movement abilities. Try out Spartan Charge Ground Pound strictly as movement abilities without any damage whatsoever. What do you guys think? What do you think of the changes? Are you enjoying them? I know I'm enjoying this so far. Regardless, Halo 5 is a good game, so I'm having a fun time, and I'm looking forward to seeing how competitive play plays out as a result of changing this. Does this nerf Splice? Does this make Splice not as strong as a team? Or is Shotzi going to fly across maps? Is he still going to be just as good as he always is? Same with Renegade, Stellar, Eco, all those players. What do you guys think of the settings? Do you think that they should have changed them? Should they change more? Should they take out more? Should they add more? Do you think that Halo 6 should have this, what I said, where like it's a Spartan charge but it's only a secondary thrust, or an aerial charged thrust that you have to commit to that goes to a specific point, or they just remove them, get rid of them completely, go back to classic Halo 6? What do you guys think of all of this stuff? Let me know in the comments. Remember to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm going to link those in the subscription. You can also subscribe and like, and you can hit the bell beside the subscribe button. You can keep up with all the new things that I'm doing and know exactly when a Halo video is coming out onto this channel. That's everything I want to talk about today. Thank you guys. I will see you around. Have a good night.